Birthday Song, which is currently streaming on Netflix. She has done research for Ashim Ahluwalia's Daddy, which streams on Amazon Prime. Vrishali is the author of the best-selling Can't Die for Size.
So, I think AB needs absolutely no introduction. Anirban Bhattacharya and Anurag Kashyap, we're all here for AB as we call him. Anurag Kashyap, thank you for joining us, and he's the winner of one national award for film fairs, prolific filmmaker, and has also been, the government of France has knighted him as the Knight of Order and Letters for his contribution to cinema. But what is interesting is we're here for AB's The Deadly Dozen Serial Killers, and what's interesting is that Anurag made his foray, and this is when I was doing my research, that he made his foray into Bollywood when he scripted Otto Naran, and Otto Naran is the first story of The Deadly Dozen, which he wrote, and that kind of impressed Ram Gopal Varma, and that was the start of so many other things. Panch, has anybody seen Panch? I mean, I love the film. A lot of us have seen Panch over here. And that was again based very loosely as is mentioned, on the Joshi Abhyankar murder cases of 1976, the serial murders that happened in Pune, shaking the daylights out of the sleepy town of Pune, and Raman Raghav, as we all know. So Anurag, welcome, and you're our chief guest. Thank you for coming. And AB, as we all know, this is your debut novel. We're all here because of you. AB again needs no introduction. Super successful co-creator of Savdhaan India, and many impressive institutions: Channel V, Jamia, and St. Xavier's Kolkata. And well, we just got to know that The Deadly Dozen is also trending on Amazon as a bestseller already. And just yesterday, was it? Yesterday or day before, I read an article in News 18 where his book is mentioned with doyens like Arundhati Roy and Amitabh Ghosh. So congratulations. And yeah, so let's get started.
Yeah, so we can see the trailer.
I think we should see this trailer.
Awesome. We put together a trailer for the book. Very cool. With the opening. Okay. So rip it. The killer. Check. I really want to thank Anurag for taking the time out and coming. He's been running a very busy schedule, and honest to God, I mean, thank you. You don't realize how overwhelmed I am right now. Just to have you standing here and do this for a debutant author, it's more than a dream come true. And I really want to thank you for taking the time out and supporting the book.
I've already have had a take on 3 of the stories.
I know.
Jackal and Otto Shankar and Ravan Raga.
Thank you so much.
Oh, but this is amazing. I already have my eye on one.
On one of the stories?
I can't say. There's somebody standing before me, so I'm waiting it out.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. We just have a couple of questions for you, and then you. Yeah, please. Check. Okay. Start.
Yeah, so like you said, you've already had a take on 3, and one is brewing in your mind. So what is it about the serial killer, the mind of a serial killer that draws you to it, that entices you to make films on them?
It's always the inexplicable. You don't understand what makes them the way they are. And that's what is very interesting. because it's almost like you can't make sense of it. The most incredible thing is you just cannot make sense to it. The logic, the intelligence, no kind of reasoning works there. It just is.
But,
And that is what is scary about it.
yeah, but when it's a piece of non-fiction and then when you have to fictionalize it, what are the challenges that you face when you have to fictionalize something that has already happened and something so macabre?
No, you don't need to fictionalize it, but the thing is sometimes the circumstances force you to fictionalize it. Because I genuinely believe that the truth is stranger than fiction.
It is.
Because fiction still is created from a mind that is still trying to think when it's within its limited capacity.
No, but I've seen Panch and I've seen it.
Panch was inspired by the Jekyll case.
Yeah,
the
but by
Jekyll
the
case,
so how did you fictionalize that?
That is because when I was writing Panch and I was working on the Jekyll case, I was told you can't make a film without music. My first film, so I was like, okay, fine, I'll make them a boy band. And so the serial killers became musicians.
But was that the only fiction?
No, it's not that. Even the music band thing was not fictional. It was also based on the band called Greek, which existed at that time, and it was based on their struggle with the system, trying to do what they were doing in the rock scene, which was an underground band. So I took two different stories and married them together.
When I was writing Raman Raghav, what you're saying is that it doesn't make sense at all.
Sense.
Raman Raghav's story is.
Yeah, Raman Raghav, the real story is.
Yeah, where do you even begin?
Is very. It's one of its kind. The original Raman Raghav story. It's not like Otto Shankar or not like anything else, which still has some kind of a motivation.
Yeah.
You know, the Raman Raghav story is very strange, and nobody wanted me to make that film, so I made Raman Raghav 2.0. But the thing is, we still borrowed some elements from the original Raman Raghav. With his sister relationship, everything we borrowed from the original story.
Yeah, because here it was just one guy who came, nobody knew about.
My thing is like, if I can't make that, then I'll do something else. But I kind of invoked Raman Raghav to address a lot of other things that were surrounding us.
AB, so when I read AB's stories, his writing is extremely visual, sucks you into that world. How difficult was it? Was it a natural progression from Savdhaan India? What were the challenges that you faced when you were writing it?
So I think when you're talking about the visual element of the stories, it was a very deliberate attempt. The stories are set across different eras, right, of India. I wanted to get that visual sense of the reader being present over there. Yeah, even the language keeps changing. If you read Thug Behram, which is from the 1800s.
I think the only one that stands out from is Thug Behram. I said, how did you put in Thug Behram in this, which is, all of them are more now.
Yeah.
And Thug Behram is from
the 1800s, yeah. So I read up Captain Sleeman's account. Captain Sleeman was the one who actually captured, brought an end to the Thuggy movement. And they introduced new laws.
Even Deceivers, like Shashi Kapoor on the story.
Yes. So, I wanted it to be very visual and screenplay like. So when you're reading it, you should be able to smell the blood, almost. I just wanted to read out a passage. I think my book is somewhere here. Yep, thank you. I've marked it. I've done homework.
But it's amazing. Like if I have you around, people will not think I'm so dark.
Not at all. So this is just a little passage from Thug Behram. Also, Thug Behram, I wanted to make it very filmy. Thug Behram is a story from the 1800s, so a lot of it is taken from reports and all of that. But a lot of them is also imaginary scenes, because I don't know what Thug Behram actually did, in a sense that there are no day-to-day accounts of his life, right? So this is Thug Behram. Just a small passage I'll read out. The caravan moved silently through the night. The clanging of the bells around the necks of the bullocks pulling the canopied carts was the only sound that could be heard. Around 15 men and women were traveling to a nearby village to attend a wedding. Fatigue was clawing at their bodies. They had been on the road for the past 8 hours. How much further do we need to travel to reach the village? One of the men asked. Or 10 kos, replied an old man, the senior-most person in the group. The cry of a jackal sliced through the night. The animal was nearby. The men grew alert, lifting their torches to see if they could spot the wild animal. Suddenly, the leader of the caravan halted his cart and put up his hand, signaling the others to do the same. "Men, arm yourselves," he yelled. 2 of the 7 men in the party pulled out daggers from their kamarbands. They were carrying these to protect themselves, having heard about a dangerous group of dacoits prowling in the area. But what they saw instead was one of the victims. In the middle of the road lay a man who was groaning in pain. "They left me for dead. They robbed me of everything. Water. Please give me some water." The men helped him lean against the wheel of one of the carts. After drinking his fill, he narrated his story. His name was Sukram, and he had been traveling with his wife. They were headed to a nearby village. He was poor and hence traveling by foot. A gang of dacoits pounced on him, looting everything, including his wife. At this point, he broke down. The travelers, they were shocked. One of them gathered his courage and asked, "Was it him?" Sukram looked up and whispered, as if he were too afraid to even say the name out loud. "Yes, it was him. Thug Behram." At the mention of the name, a shudder ran through the crowd. The women inside the caravan who had been eavesdropping began crying. "How did you manage to live?" "He kills everyone," a young man asked. Sukram got up slowly and said, "How can Behram kill his own self?" He let out a scream of a jackal, and as he said this, out of the dark forest some fierce-looking men appeared. They were bearded and red-eyed. With a blood-curdling cry, they lunged at the travelers who were no match for the dacoits. Within minutes, a hush fell upon the caravans. So this, I tried to be as, visual as possible, and so.
But what it left me as a reader when I was going through, through the book was I was shit scared. Yeah. It just scared the daylights out of me. Like it was like you just took the bull by the horns and said, "This is a parallel universe, and they are out there." And
this
you need was that conscious to shroud your reader with a pall of fear?
If we call it a parallel universe, it's a mistake. It's our universe. Shit is in this world. We imagine we are living in an Enid Blyton. Once upon a hillock, there lived some elves and dwarves, and it's not.
And they lived happily ever after.
Yeah, they don't. It's a shitty world. It's a scary world. They are all around us, and I wanted the readers to realize that, and that's what Savdhaan India has done, producing it for the last 7 years now. I realized that people seem to say, the bad always happens to other people. It can never happen to me, and that is completely a misnomer, because it can happen to you. And I really wanted to make the readers scared.
Yeah,
I mean, I keep breaking the fourth wall. If you read the story, you'll realize I keep directly talking to the reader, saying, guard your children. They are not safe. There's a story of Darbara Singh. He was a migrant killer, right? So he just killed migrant children. He just used to take kids, rape them, kill them, And as a parent, I was really scared. And so I write it over there in the book saying, please, if you're sleeping with your children tonight, hug them tight, because they are safe and sound beside you. Hamare zamane mein we could go out and play.
No, I'm saying if you go by the data, the number of children that disappear is so much more, and nobody knows where they're gone.
Where they're gone. Hamare time pe we used to go out and play in the gully and no one bothered. We could just play. And now you can't even let your child out in the in the gully or in the compound. You don't know if they're going to come back or not. It's true. It's true.
Ironically, a lot of cases also happened in the 70s, and when we
there were a lot of 90s, and even the last 10 years, there have been cases. The Beer Man and the Stone Man have happened recently.
You know what they say? They say only like 10% of serial killers in the world have been found and discovered.
So there could be a serial killer residing in. Just needs the little. Right. Okay. You need to go, or you okay? You need to go, right? Okay. So before you leave, I just want to present you with. I grew up in Kalimpong. Yes, this too. I grew up in Kalimpong, so it's a tradition there that we present Tibetan khadas. So Iram will present you the Tibetan khadas. I know you're in Jalpaiguri. Superb, superb. So, we'll just pause with the book and press and first read the book. Yeah. Oh yes. Oh, we've got something else for you as well. Oh, oh this is for you for being kind enough to come. And this is all healthy stuff.
Gift hamper.
Yeah. Got a gift hamper. Mixing के साथ free. So it's, I have everything that I want to do. खींचो तस्वीरें ऐसा मौका फिर
प्रेस को सवाल करने को सर प्रेस को सवाल करने को सर एक दो ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लेंगे आपका
बिल्कुल नहीं है
सर एक क्वेश्चन सर
I'll just leave him and then I'll come back. Hold on. It's not like a formal event and all, no?